I think I mentioned to you in my notes, I watched a documentary called One Shot, One Life,
Mm.
and that explored several aspects of Kyudo, even touching on its connection to Chinese archery and
Oh, yes.
Confucianism. And that was really fascinating. But there's this wonderful NHK video of you explaining, I guess, what we'd call the 8 movements of Kyudo, which is Hassetsu. So it might be hard for our listeners to visualize, but would you like to briefly touch on those 8 movements and why they're important and how they make the practice of Kyudo what it is, I guess?
Mm. Yes, and actually in this it is 8 movements, so we can say they're like the kata if it's someone who's familiar with karate or other martial arts. Other martial arts have kata as well. So you have these different positions from starting until releasing the arrow and then the end, the way your position is at the end of your shooting and bringing the bow back down. So in essence, it's one movement. However, to break it down, it's 8 kata. But inside those kata, there are several other small things that need to be done. So the 8 movements or the Hassetsu are necessary in my school of archery to be able to pass grading and to be able to shoot the bow. You need to be doing these 8 kata
Mm-hmm.
in the correct sequence in order to shoot the arrow. So if these kata are correct, without going into big details about each of them, if they're correct and performed technically correct, you'll hit the target with your arrow. So if you have a bit of an unbalance somewhere, in Kyudo it's about a millimeter, I think. If you're off in some direction
Yeah.
with your hands or your body, then it translates to a 10 centimeter or more difference in the arrow placement at the target, which is 28
Wow.
meters away. Yeah, so it's just very tiny micro movements that make these huge changes uh, over where the arrow shoots. So, but the hasets are necessary to be performed correctly in order to have the correct technique and also to get the arrow to fly
Mm.
correctly. Yes.